Nu ska vi lyssna på M.O.B.A Networks och deras vd Anders Ribbing. Välkommen.
Tack så
Kör igång så kommer jag tillbaka med lite frågor.
I'll be doing this presentation in English. I'm Anders. I'm the CEO of M.O.B.A Network. Just joined in June, so I've been with the company roughly 6 months. I don't have a gaming background myself, more of a business tech digital background. But thankfully, I have great colleagues that know a whole lot more about gaming than I do. So M.O.B.A Network is a company that reaches more than 220 million gamers every month. Let's just let that sink in for a while. That's nearly 250 million gamers every month. We don't produce any games of our own, but we're still a vital component of the gaming ecosystem. We're a world-leading gaming network that delivers or enhances gaming experiences globally. And we unite and elevate gamers and creators. And our mission is to empower gamers and creators to thrive, connect, and innovate through a cutting-edge network driven by creators' data and transformative products. I'm just giving you a little bit of a background to M.O.B.A Network, our network and products, audience, market, and monetization, and our growth strategy, and in the end, some more about our financials. We are a company that have assets that derive all the way back to 2002, so we have a long history. In 2018, we started pursuing more of an aggressive growth strategy based on M&A, and we listed the company on Nasdaq First North Growth in 2019. And we've since then both acquired a number of companies, and we've launched assets and new products organically as well. We have 30 FTEs, or full-time equivalents. We're present in Sweden, Canada, US, and France. We have a solid cap table, both with a blend of both the private and institutional investors. We have a market-leading position within what I would define as gaming services, media, and community platforms. We obviously have a growth mindset. We want the company to grow and prosper, but we also have a profitability-first approach, and we've had so from the start. I think our EBITDA CAGR of 22%, 2019 to 23, suggests that this is pretty much a fact. Ads is our core means of monetization. It's a solid and a proven business model and something that we excel at. We're now looking also to contemplate this ads monetization with subscriptions and other recurring revenue streams. We've started, but we'll be more aggressively pursuing this strategy in 2025. We have an innovative product roadmap. It's an absolute necessity in order to attract a lot of gamers, attract a lot of creators, and just making sure that our products and communities engagements stay strong over time. So having a look at our well-diversified network of products, we have 3 distinct categories. One is websites, niched community-based brands. The majority of them are in community and data. We also have the largest independent forum site in the Reset era in gaming, and an original content site, MMORPG. The second category is in-game applications. These are desktop applications, companion apps that serve a lot of value to gamers as they're actually playing the games. And the last is a video creator network in union for gamers. Unifying everything across this, it's multiple touch points across the gaming landscape. All of our assets are based on games with longevity. So a lot of these games have been around for a long time. So World of Warcraft is one example, had their 20th year anniversary just last week. League of Legends has been around for 14 plus years, et cetera, et cetera. So our top KPI is about generating a lot of traffic and a lot of active users. And essentially, we're working with products, making sure that they deliver great user experience with great tools, great features. A lot of it is about content and getting creators to our products and to publish content. Obviously, we need browsers out there, Google and others, to love our websites. We work a lot with organic and technical SEO. We utilize our network, that we're not only one product, we have lots of products. They can cross-pollinate and cross-promote. And then marketing, and specifically marketing in top geos that typically would monetize well with ads. So traffic and active users. So every session, every page view is essentially what drives a large ad inventory. And then it's about monetizing that inventory as favorable as we possibly can. And active users and traffic is also what serves as the top of funnel for a subscription service, for example. So it's also the key in order to gain and start developing other revenue streams across our network. We're pretty good at this. And I think the numbers suggest that we are. I mentioned that we have more than 220 million gamers that we reach every month. We have more than 1 billion views on YouTube each month, whereas 200 million unique. We have 150 million page views across our websites, more than 1,000 content creators, 14 million app installs, and 1.5 million active users in our in-game apps. Just looking a little bit more of these products, within our niched web brands, we have community brands, which is a large component. They're typically centered around one game or a family of games. We are pretty much facilitate a technical platform and a brand that attracts creators to publish content on our websites. So it's 100% user-generated content. We serve and moderate, obviously, to make sure that the content is of good quality. But other than that, the creators represent and produce the content. So it's low OPEX, so it's high-quality content at very low cost. We believe in a first-to-market, first-mover strategy when it comes to launching new websites within this space. We have done so in the past. We've launched Wild Rift Fire and Farm Friends as 2 great examples that have been embraced by the community. And we have a technical platform that makes it very easy for us to launch new websites. So keeping a close eye on the gaming calendar for 25 is one key component of our strategy within this space. The other main website category is found within data, stats, and analytics. These are also often centered around one game or a family of games. We typically would fetch data from various data sources, amongst others, large game studio APIs. We bring in the data, we package it, we visualize it in new ways, we build features and tools on top of it, making it highly valuable for gamers to seek more information on how they can improve and how pro players are playing and stuff like that. Professor.gg and League of Graphs are 2 of these type of sites. They also serve as the backend for our largest in-game app, which is Professor. It's the #1 world-leading app, in-game app for the game of League of Legends. So the difference here and the mechanic here is that Professor delivers a lot of value pre-game and post-game, but also when you are actually playing the game. So we are delivering real-time data and information to gamers that are playing the game. They learn a lot about their opponents. They learn a lot about their teammates. We deliver strategies, tactics, tips, and other useful information for them to make better decisions and become better gamers quite quickly. So this attracts both casual and pro gamers. We have 1.5 million installs of this application. 14 million app installs. We have more than 1.5 million monthly active users in this app. We just recently, just a month ago, we launched Valofessor. This is based on the game Valorant. So it's a first-person shooter game, but totally different game, but the mechanics are somewhat the same. It's also a companion app. Showing very promising results. Initially, great user feedback, and it's growing quite rapidly, but from small numbers. But we have a really strong belief that this can be a high-quality app that can grow and become really successful for us. The in-game app space in itself is something that we see as a growth area. We're looking to expand here. Monetization mechanics is a little bit immature, I would say, but it's steadily improving. The key difference here between a user, they spend a lot of time in these apps. Spend a lot of time. We typically generate new ads every 30 seconds. It means we're generating massive amounts of ad inventory, which is promising, obviously. They are also well suited for subscriptions. So this is one area that we'll be aggressively working with during 2025. The last component is our video creator network, Union for Gamers. We have more than 750 creators. We have net creator growth. We have north of 1 billion views. We have more than 5 billion views across YouTube and more than 300 million subscribers. We've been in the space for quite some time, more than 12 years. The MCN business is a lot about letting the creators do what they do best. They need to focus on creating great content, and we want to be that partner that makes that possible. So we serve them with account management, legal services, support, a wide area of tools that make it easier for them to manage their funds and payouts and other issues. So it's essentially about getting them to produce great content, which generates a lot of ad inventory, which is what we make money on. Looking a little bit about our audience, marketeers are discovering and increasingly discovering that gaming is an interesting area. And we have really a large part of our audience is based on Gen Z and millennials. these are target groups that are increasingly hard to reach through traditional media. They're highly elusive, and you need to find them where they're actually hanging out. And they're hanging out on our products, which is something that we let marketeers to tap into. So we have a lot of, and increasingly, Fortune 500 companies, Kia, Mercedes, McDonald's, Procter & Gamble, etc. Smaller companies, obviously, and then along with endemic brands that launch games and other things, other gaming-related products on our websites. So gaming is, I think over the last decades, it's transcended from being a subculture, a niche hobby. Today, it's much more of a mainstream phenomenon that has massive influence on society and media, music, fashion, lots of different areas. So I think it's a large area and something that's really much part of pop culture today. So gamers are not teenagers anymore. They're not only they can be teenagers, but they're not only teenagers and not in basements with headsets. They have grown up. Average age is 33 years old. 8.5 hours a week is a lot of time spent in gaming, and the majority of gamers today are high to middle income earners. It means they can spend money on products. So our core, as I mentioned, is Gen Z and millennials, and this is a massive group. It's a large population. It's almost 50% of the US population. They spend most of their preferred form of entertainment is gaming. 45%, or a lot of them, are influenced by gaming creators, and it's something that we happen to have a lot of across our products. So we have a global reach, widespread around the globe. Our top geos are centered around North America and Europe, that typically monetize well when it comes to advertising. If you look at this out of a revenue perspective, it's a bit more extreme. So 66% of our revenues are derived from the United States. So that's the most important market for us. Looking at some of the underlying growth drivers of our business, gaming has had some turmoil and probably has some yet to come, but it's still growing. And it's looking to grow over time as well, or predicted to grow. Growth in esports is massive, both financially, but also when it comes to viewership, which is a lot larger than large sports properties such as the NFL, NHL, stuff like that. So it's quite substantial. Also, digital advertising is growing, and advertising specifically in gaming is growing. So our growth strategy has been very much focused on strategic M&A. It's nothing that we're ruling out, but we're tilting our strategy more towards organic. We have so much to do in what we actually have. We can improve when it comes to traffic, active users, monetize our ads better, but we're also going to be pursuing new revenue streams like subscriptions, gaining recurring revenue that works typically very well together with ads. We're also looking to grow within websites and our in-game apps. But when it comes to, we still remain open to strategic M&A if we can find those target companies that have that perfect strategic fit. If we have founders that want to join our family at M.O.B.A. Network, and if we see both revenue, cost, operational synergies, which makes sense, we can grow this company faster than it can grow itself if we work with it within M.O.B.A. Network. Those are the companies that we're looking for. Having a look at our financials, we haven't been open, and we don't have financial targets over the long term. Something we'll be discussing with the board and probably will be launching. But I think we can get a quite clear indication of where this company is headed based on looking at our numbers in the rearview mirror. So Q2 and Q3 represented record-breaking quarters. So year to date, revenue is up 19%, EBITDA is up 165%, so profitability has substantially been improved. EBIT, same, massive increase, and cash flow is also a whole lot stronger than it used to be, or was in 2023, so 362% better. Looking at our last 12 months LTM numbers, they pretty much are showing the same sign. So 14% growth in revenue, and the EBITDA is up 154%. So why invest in M.O.B.A. Network? I guess that's the key question, why many of you are here to understand. We're a global leader with massive reach. We are working on a growing market. We see that both esports scene, the gaming market is growing, digital advertising is growing. We have a well-diversified network. We are based on a variety of games, so we're not dependent on one single game. We have 3 distinct product categories. We have niched web brands. We have our in-game apps. We also have our YouTube creator network in Uni for Gamers. We are profitable or growing. We had a record-breaking Q2, Q3, I noted in our Q4 report that we're off to a good start, indicating that we're on a growth trajectory. We also have a lot of untapped potential. We have new assets to grow. We are strengthening the team. We just recruited a PhD in AI and machine learning to start exploiting those areas as well. So there's a lot to do within the business. So we're looking to grow organically, remain open to strategic acquisitions as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I start off with a question. If you could elaborate a little bit about that. You don't have any financial targets, but maybe going forward you will present that. Or how is your thoughts on that?
Well, we have I think we have a clear vision, an idea, and a mission where this company is headed. And I think that probably needs to be addressed in financial numbers as well over time. So having something that is achievable within 4 or 5 years would be, I think, relevant to set. But we don't have that as of now. So now we're looking more at how we have been performing financially, and then that'll give an indication of where we're headed in the future.
Yeah, you mentioned in your presentation, but also in your interim reports, that you are working with increasing recurring revenue. How is that? How are you creating more recurring revenue in your?
Well, as of now, we're operating with fairly low numbers. Some of our sites do have subscriptions, as one example. But there's a lot to do. You have to have a decent value proposition, and I think we need to develop a number of features that makes sense to actually purchase a subscription. And we have some really great ideas to do that, and we'll start focusing on selected assets which we think have the highest potential. So we'll be growing from small numbers, but I still think that there's vast potential to grow in this area. And lots of publishers typically work with this, both advertising and subscription type models together, so they can work nicely together.
Yeah, we see. You have said in your when it comes to your strategy that you looking to expand your in-app offerings, for instance. What is your strategy towards that? Could you elaborate a little bit more what your thoughts are?
Well, we have Porofessor, which is hugely successful. We have Valofessor that is growing from small numbers. We see that we have a number of global brands within our niche brand website portfolio that also typically could work well and serve gamers in a good way with the same trademark or same brand, but in the form and shape of an in-game app. So I think there are a couple that we're going to be expanding in that way.
And that will drive revenue growth, or how will it affect you going forward?
Yeah, I think it definitely will. I mean, as long as we would believe in an app, that means that we believe we can attract a lot of users. If we have a lot of users, we'll be generating ad inventory, and obviously we can start adding subscriptions to this type of in-game apps where we see the potential and the fit for it.
Of course. When it comes to new community websites, which is also something that you mentioned, what kind of community websites are you looking at, or do you think you would strengthen you?
Well, I think for us, we need to be where it's both kind of being where large games are, obviously, but then also trying to figure out which new games can actually become that type of game that can be there for a long time, and then you can build a community that's vibrant around that game. So it's about selecting the ones that we actually believe in. And then not investing too heavily in order to have this launched. So launch at an early phase, and then don't invest too much, but then make sure that, okay, it seems to be working, and then invest more heavily once we have that kind of, I guess, product market fit of each specific website. Yeah.
And evidence that it is that it's relevant, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about acquisitions as well. What kind of companies are you looking at?
Well, companies could be within communities and data sites. Also, in-game applications are mainly what we're looking at. But then there are other type of companies that have specific services that we think that we can grow much faster within our business, that we can actually integrate and utilize kind of the power of the products that we have in order to market a new type of business, a new type of product. So, and then there could be other issues like with operational synergies and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. When it comes to competition, how is that at the moment?
Well, we have certain peers, obviously, but I think that our 3 different set of categories have competition from different type of companies. It's fierce competition for some of these, for sure. Others not as much. But yeah, it's still pretty fragmented. Like lots of small or larger private companies, a couple of public, but competition kind of facing from different angles, I would say.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And what kind of threats do you see to your business at the moment?
I'm sorry?
What kind of threats do you see, I mean, all companies always have, how do you say, challenges or?
Well, I think some of the things you can't do much about when it comes to like macroeconomics, that typically would govern like the amount of ad spend that's available, which affects anybody who works with advertising monetization. Then there are, I think, certain threats with like changes and fluctuations and how the winds are blowing and how the community and the gaming landscape is changing with new games and gamers that leave one game, come back, and then they go to another. So that obviously affects us. And I think our way of tackling that part is more that we have a well-diversified portfolio. So we're not dependent or dependent on just one game. So we're trying to kind of spread out that risk in a sense.
I understand.
That we have. Yeah.
Time flies. We don't have that much time left. Why should you invest in your company?
Well, I think everything points in one direction. The company has delivered record-breaking Q2 and Q3. Those are 2 at least consecutive decent quarters that we delivered. But I also see just that we're well diversified. We're growing. We're in a space that's really attractive. I don't see why you wouldn't.
No. Okej, det får bli slutord. Stort tack för att du kom hit.
Tack.